What's up everybody, welcome to another episode of the greatest vlog in the world. My name is Jeff, your favorite tour guide in Madeira, who is in fact in Canada, and we are in Toronto. We are filming some videos on the Portuguese community here in Toronto, and we're kick-starting with the Portuguese channel in Canada. This is FPTV behind me. This is the channel, and we have been asked and invited to come out and talk about our project, about our big Portuguese in North America documentary that we're slowly building. That's why we're here. And of course, to shed some light on what we're doing. I'm very excited, first time on Canadian TV. Are you nervous, Andrea?
No.
No?
Nah.
Well, let's go. But actually, before we go, right behind us is a one great mural of Amália Rodrigues, and the founder of this station, Frank Alvarez, actually put together a petition to make this day happen, which is the day of Amália Rodrigues, where everybody here in Canada can celebrate one of Portugal's, or actually Portugal's queen of fado. So we're very excited. We're going to be on TV. You ready, Andrea? Ooh, yeah? Let's go. There we go. Hey, here's the big boss.
Sem claro, cala. Olha o sorriso de toda a gente aqui. Olha para isto.
Ah, pois é. Yeah.
Mas uma coisa que não se nota.
Yeah, pois. Ah, pois.
People are living no momento, estás a ver? Nós estamos a voltar.
Yeah.
Olha para isto. Go to St. Clair in Caledonia, tu vais ver tudo isto aqui.
Yeah,
okay?
and people are missing that connection, especially after COVID, eh?
But this is exactly what we need. Imagina, eu sou italiano a falar português, depois português a falar inglês. I love it, man. It's beautiful. But it's amazing to see a quantidade de gente aqui, tudo unido. You know what I'm saying? And this was
the day of Portugal?
This was Summerfest. Essa é uma festa que nós chamávamos Summerfest, right?
Okay.
A sua atenção sabe que os portugueses têm as suas marcas espalhadas pelos 4 cantos do globo. Por onde passaram, deixaram as suas impressões digitais. E assim em África, e assim na América, e assim na Europa. Há 2 jovens que predispuseram-se a reconstituir os passos da cultura portuguesa, da marca portuguesa, aqui na América do Norte, nomeadamente nos Estados Unidos da América e no estado do Canadá. Jeff Gouveia, da It Raw de Madeira, e André Muniz são 2 convidados aqui presentes no Jornal da Noite para poderem falar desta reconstituição que começaram a fazer há já alguns dias. Boa noite e bem-vindo ao Jornal da Noite.
Este é um projeto de longo prazo que estamos a criar aqui nos Estados Unidos e no Canadá. Estamos a visitar as comunidades portuguesas e estamos aí à procura de histórias engraçadas que têm a ver com a nossa cultura e com a imigração. Estamos à procura de similâncias, estamos à procura de diferenças. Como é que os nossos primos americanos são um bocadinho diferentes de nós?
Então, essencialmente, lá está, como o Jeff referiu aqui, estamos a lançar estes pequenos vídeos, não é? Quase como teasers daquilo que poderão esperar no produto final. O produto final é um documentário. Queremos lançar este documentário nos próximos anos. Aliás, nós ainda vamos, no próximo ano, estamos a planear outras viagens, estamos a planear uma viagem ao Havaí, estamos a planear uma viagem à Califórnia, portanto vamos também a outros sítios, não só dos Estados Unidos, mas também aqui do Canadá. Queremos essencialmente lançar isto de forma episódica, portanto um documentário de vários episódios, em que cada episódio vai de encontro a uma temática muito particular das comunidades.
2 jovens que, por iniciativa própria, estão a reconstituir os passos e as marcas dos portugueses, aqui é a sua contribuição na América do Norte, nomeadamente nos Estados Unidos da América e no Canadá. Um projeto ambicioso e que vale a pena reconstituir a história. Obrigado e boa sorte neste projeto.
Muito obrigado,
Jorge.
Obrigado
pelo convite também. Obrigado.
This is the Casa da Madeira Community Center in Toronto. This is one of the biggest Portuguese clubs in Canada. These guys are the guys that are responsible for the big festival that we are attending, and I find it quite interesting that they have events going on throughout the whole year. The man inside was telling me that they even do Noite do Mercado inside this hall. So it's a way to keep everybody together. It's a way to keep the culture and the history of Madeira together. They gave us this beautiful welcome while we were here visiting. So it is actually a couple of days before the feast, and we're still doing our tour of Toronto. But we had a great time inside here, and I'm actually quite excited for the festival. But yeah, if you guys are Canadian Portuguese or Canadian Madeiran, make sure to check this place out because it really is a true gem with a lot of history, culture and stories and great people behind it. Thank you again, guys. We're in the Madeira Club in Toronto, and we're being received as important guests. So I want to say, first of all, huge thank you to everyone who came out to see us. Thank you, everybody. And it's great to be here. This is their kind of like their library room, right? This is where they host people that come over. I guess this is kind of like the trophy room. So we were signing in the book. It was really cool, and there's a lot of really neat things out here. So yeah, I think everybody here can be very proud of what they have. And you know, next time we come back, we have to bring something to put in the room, huh? Yeah, I think so, right? You know, not just drinking the poncha, no, it's a little bit. But anyway, again, thanks guys. We're gonna have some more and have a little tour around the place, and looking forward towards the feast this weekend, huh? It's all mine. It's all mine. É? Como é que é? Tudo, olha. Saúde. Saúde a todos. A nossa.
Madeira. Yeah. Madeira. Venha ter uma vez.
Vai, gente, então.
Olha, tem que
bom.
Temos poncha Madeira.
Olha, Brendo.
Bem-vindos aos Bem-vindo à Casa da Madeira de Toronto.
Yes.
So I'm Devin. I'm born and raised in Toronto, Canada. However, my paternal side, they're from the island of San Miguel in Ponta Delgada. So my grandparents, they started their family in Ponta Delgada, but my grandmother's actually from the east side in Faial da Terra, and my grandfather was from the westernmost point in Ginete. So they had a family back home, and then they immigrated here in the late 50s, early 60s. And my father was born 9 months later, so he's the youngest and the Canadian born of the family. And he married my mother, who immigrated here in the 80s from the same island, San Miguel, in the town of San Roque, right next to Ponta Delgada. But I've been raised in the diaspora here in Toronto and very much ingrained in this Portuguese thing of ours. I guess growing up, I was kind of in denial. I think I wanted to be more Canadian growing up, exposed to such a multicultural city and classmates of different ethnicities, and just being very much influenced by the American Canadian culture, that I kind of took for granted what that Portuguese heritage meant to my upbringing. So it's kind of something I ran away from until my mid-20s. That's where I guess I had a turning of my perspective, and I came to recognize how important that was for my sense of self, my upbringing. So it was in my mid-20s that I started asking questions, and I was curious, started researching family history, where we came from, what does this all mean. I wrote 2 books. The first was called The Portuguese Immigrant, Atlantic Heritage Story, which is a narrative nonfiction tale of my grandfather's immigration story to Canada. So I very much, like for myself, it was a genealogy project. You know, what motivated him to want to leave the island, what the status of affairs were at that time, and what that struggle was like, and the dichotomy between life before and after Canada. And then the second book was a travel journalistic project. I called it Finding Madeira, and it was very much about discovering a beautiful island in the Atlantic that was kind of under my nose. It was always there. But that sense of homecoming to a place you've never been to before, which is very much what I felt when I discovered Madeira for the first time. And I married a woman with Madeiran heritage and ancestry, so it was twofold. It was finding Madeira was finding true love for me.
Where would
would somebody start and like what's missing?
I think starting point, start attending. We know there's all these different regions and different folklore and different ancestry. Portugal's very widespread, and you know there's silos, if you will. At least in my community, there's a lot of different avenues to explore this Portuguese thing. But get involved by participating. Attend an event, go to a festa, go to your club, have a dinner, get a lay of the land if you've been separated, like I was for a while. And once you get a sense of like what's happening and what they're doing, find an opening for yourself, right? See what you can offer to whatever organization it is, and offer that piece of yourself. You sit on the sidelines, you don't participate, you don't even attend. A lot of these things face a grave danger of maybe falling apart or sort of being shells of what they used to be in their heydays. And I think if you're inspired and want to attend, or you're curious at least, just showing up makes the difference. Don't be shy, don't be coy. I think just start talking, get involved, and organically you'll find those spaces for you, because it is safe. There are spaces for us to get involved and relish in what we have here to share with everybody. I want to see more youth. Obviously, I want to see the youngins step up and attend and get involved. I want to see the half Portuguese or maybe non-Portuguese attend with their spouses and sort of get acquainted with what all this is. And I also want to see an evolution of the way we do things. I think some of the festivals and some of the proceedings are a little antiquated, and it's kind of from the perspective of a generation or two ago of what that looked like. But I think with some evolution, incorporating more modern talents, acts, or digital spaces even, I think sort of opening up how we look at this and curate this Portuguese thing of ours builds a better future. But I'd like to see that open up more. Otherwise, I just feel like it's kind of the same thing that's just repeating over time, and you got to make more space for the future.
Your favorite Portuguese food?
Hands down, I'm gonna start with a soup, caldo verde. This is a nostalgic dish for me, but my mom used to make ervilhas guisadas, which is like a pea stew, which not many people in the family like, so I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm alone with that one. Or just naturally bacalhau de brás at the restaurant usually, so yeah.
So Devin's been our host here in Toronto, and it's been incredible because he's already lined us up with 2 TV interviews. We're in magazines, in newspapers, and he's connected us with all the right people. So thanks again, Devin. And yeah, we're out here in what they call the Canadian Times Square. I'm not going to say the name because it's changing name, so I'm going to take advantage of that fact to not have to remember it. Being lazy, it's been a long couple of weeks. The brain is needing a little bit of rest. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little place in downtown Toronto. It feels like we've been exploring a lot of the suburbs and things. So it's nice to be in the city today. And yeah, we're gonna head out to the TV station to do another Portuguese talk show. So yeah, second time on Portuguese Canadian TV. Are you ready, André?
Yeah, what's
Hey, you ready? He likes to talk. Okay.
I can talk for hours.
Sejam bem-vindos uma vez mais. Vamos conhecer 2 jovens que estão ligados a um projeto interessantíssimo, que é dar a conhecer ao mundo os portugueses, não só os que residem na região autónoma da Madeira, bem assim como os portugueses que residem no continente norte-americano. As boas-vindas, então, primeiramente para o André que é o produtor e o realizador deste projeto, e depois para o Jeff, que é o apresentador, mas também produtor.
Sim.
Muito obrigada pelo convite, obrigada por estarem aqui.
Obrigado.
Obrigado nós por nos terem convidado e por estarmos a proporcionar esta conversa que é sempre agradável de se ter em qualquer parte do mundo.
Eu vivo na Madeira já agora 14 anos, 15 anos este ano. Eu nasci na África do Sul. Sou filho de imigrante, portanto os meus avós são todos da Madeira. E há uma grande comunidade madeirense na África do Sul, também onde vem um bocadinho este projeto de ter este tipo de interesse nas comunidades portuguesas pelo mundo.
Esta ideia de viajarmos pelas comunidades portuguesas foi em conversas que nós tínhamos tido, não é? E o facto também do Jeff ser, portanto, filho de imigrante madeirense lá na África do Sul, fez-nos ter este interesse em vermos como é que são as comunidades também em outros países.
E todos ajudaram uns aos outros. Era, agora tens que acontecer este, e agora tens que acontecer este, e agora tens que acontecer este. Toda a gente a ajudar uns aos outros. E não sou pessoa de falar mal, mas em Portugal a gente às vezes não vemos isso. As pessoas são mais reservadas, são mais tipo, sim, essa pessoa também faz isso, mas são mais reservados. E eu acho que aqui fora de Portugal, nesta primeira viagem que estamos a reparar, que as pessoas querem ajudar uns aos outros e falam bem de uns aos outros e tipo, tens que ir a este restaurante, tens que falar com este senhor, e isso é muito bom ver.
Existe um sentido de entreajuda muito grande e é quase como uma comunidade, como se a comunidade toda fosse ela uma grande família, não é?
A gente viemos a Canadá para lá da festa do Monte. E já quando a gente fomos introduzidos as pessoas aí na comunidade e no clube, fomos recebidos com bolos, com toda a gente estava toda a gente lá.
Vinho Madeira.
Fizeram aí tipo uma pequena festa só para nós, que quando a gente chegámos lá vemos as pessoas todas e os comes e bebes e coisas. E eu tipo, isto é giro, a malta está aqui a curtir um bocadinho e não, era só para receber nós. Tipo,
sim, não estamos nada habituados a isto já agora.
O que estamos a lançar agora no canal de YouTube é como se fosse um teaser, é um preview, para a malta começar a ver muito casualmente, mas o produto final ainda tem muito trabalho à frente.
Sim, o produto final será, portanto, um documentário episódico que nos próximos anos vamos estar a produzir. Vamos regressar aqui ao Canadá e vamos regressar aos Estados Unidos nos próximos anos e pronto, para nós explorarmos o máximo possível.
Ótimo, muito obrigada. Foi um prazer falar convosco. Vamos, por certo, ficar na expectativa de ver então o trabalho. Muito obrigada. Boa sorte para vocês.
Muito obrigado.
Muito obrigada também.
So this is the Portuguese Cultural Center of Mississauga. It's a cultural center for Portuguese people, not only Portuguese people, but anybody that would like to come. And the main focus is to, spread Portuguese culture, Portuguese music, Portuguese cuisine, and basically we have a lot of events here throughout the year, like the regular festas in Portugal every Saturday with a meal and a band and dancing. The club was founded back in the early 70s. Portuguese people wanted to gather to, play cards or attend church functions on Sundays. And because of that, the Portuguese Club of Mississauga was created. It was a place for all Portuguese to come in and meet and have the festas and, talk to priests, etc. That's how it was founded. Granted, I've only been part of the club since 2016, but from everything that I've known and I heard, regular traditions, I said, the festas, the ones where people come and dance, that today still holds true. It's very much a place where people come and dance Portuguese and come eat Portuguese food and speak with Portuguese people. Another tradition that has stuck around has been Caraçaga, which was founded in 1986. Caraçaga is a festival of cultures in the city of Mississauga. Every year, the Portuguese Cultural Center of Mississauga has been the Portugal Pavilion. Caraçaga is going to turn 40 years in 2025, and we've been part of those 40 years from the beginning until now. 2022, we had the largest folk dance for the Vida out in our parking lot, dancing the Vida for 7 minutes all together. We had a Guinness judge here. It was very official. We actually had probably closer to 600 people, but because of Guinness regulations, you know, some people were disqualified for whatever reason. We beat the record by, I think, 4 people, but we beat it. We had a big party. It was awesome. Our folklore group is kind of one of our strengths. Every year it seems to amaze me that there's little children always joining. You know, some because the parents were part of the folklore, you know, 20, 30 years ago, and then now they have kids and they want their kids to be part of it. Our folklore group is very active. I believe there's about 40 of them. And you know, right now nothing is happening, of course, but when the season starts, you know, they do all types of different events throughout the Portuguese community, and not only, actually, you know, other cultures want the folklore group to come in and dance for them. We have about 20 to 40 kids coming to our school, and then we also have adults. The school is supported by the Portuguese consulate. You know, they provide the books and you know, the literature for people to learn Portuguese, and we have a teacher that her primary job is to teach one, and she's a teacher back in São Miguel, and she's our teacher now. São Miguel probably has the biggest presence of people in the club. You know, people from the continent, from everywhere, Terceira, some people from Madeira as well. But I think it's a good mix. If I had to say, maybe half, you know, São Miguel, half from the continent, and then, you know, everywhere else. But we do have a good mixture. That's the fortunate thing about our club, is that we got a good mixture that represents all of Portugal in our directors, to our members, to the people that come to our parties. We did used to go to a lot of Portuguese festas. My parents became part of grupo Música Popular Portuguesa, where they used to sing, you know, Portuguese music, and I became part of it. And back in the early days, it was something that was very constant. It was, you know, going out and doing things like that. I mean, the food, and then of course, like as I grew older, you know, watching soccer games in the Portuguese clubs, the World Cups, going down to Little Portugal. When Chutes e Pontapés came to Toronto, I used to go watch them. You know what I mean? Like I've always been very connected to Portugal. I mean, I go back often, and my parents and we always been very connected to Portugal. I would like to see people maybe in their 30s and 40s be more involved. You know, the older folks, they're involved because they've been involved from the 70s, right? But people like in their 30s and 40s, they don't really get involved. I mean, fairly enough that, you know, they have lives, maybe they have young children and the life at home is difficult, but just get more involved in the community so it doesn't die out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What's your favorite Portuguese food?
Oof. Okay, pastéis de nata. I can never have just one. So that's one. But food, that's tough. Arroz de marisco, talvez. Arroz de marisco. Yeah.
Very nice. The Portuguese club, we're going to drink Portuguese beer, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ricardo.
Cheers.
So yeah, this place is something to be proud of. It's big. You know, there's obviously, it must be interesting when there's action in here. You know, reminds me a little bit of some things in South Africa, some of the community stuff we do in South Africa. You know, a lot of similarities in this story. So yeah, it's cool. We're going to come back. I think we're going to come back.
Were you part of the rancho in South Africa, Jeff?
Me, no. No, unfortunately
Part
not.
of the rancho at the Portuguese Cultural Center when you come back.
When I can be part of the rancho? Oh my God. Yes. Let's not put ideas on the internet.